Duduit.tv. It's 9:30 on the East Coast. It's Tuesday night. That means one thing. It's time for Dell Didway. We've got the bumper running. We are recording and we are streaming, and Dell is standing by in the green room, chat room, waiting for us. Let's start a countdown to Studio 14. Well, good evening. Left the curtain open again. Okay. Good evening. This is pjnet.tv. This is Tuesday night. It is 9:30, and that is the time that we talk to Dell Didway, who I have his website up on the screen. I was going to put it up there later, but it's there now. That's the place where he blogs every week, and it is on Tuesday that he blogs, and to see him yourself live and in person, coming to you from you're in the bunker in some undisclosed location. You're on the road, aren't you, Dell?
Yeah, I'm in a hotel room again.
Well, the internet service is excellent there. Let's hope it stays that way. You've got your coffee. I've got my coffee. I really enjoyed checking in on your blog today. Last week you had your favorite songs. I'm not big on songs, but you and I are pretty much lined up perfectly on the greatest Christmas movies of all time, and you had a rundown, and I really got a kick. I think I'm going to have to go get Chevy Chase, the Christmas, whatever
Yeah.
So many good memories. Are they making good movies like that anymore?
No. It's a dry, barren land out there. There hasn't been a good movie, Christmas or not Christmas, in a long time, because we've lost. There are no really good actors or actresses anymore, because they're all activists and they're all just they're caught up in themselves anymore, to where there's no really good movies out there. And I like movies. I mean, I've had insomnia a lot of my life, so I've watched a lot of movies over the years at night. And there's just a really Hollywood's terrible to begin with. It's a terrible place, but they have not produced anything good in, I'm going to say, a decade.
Yeah.
It's just been poor, because they're so caught up in themselves, and it costs so much, and they're so Hollywood has such a stain on it anymore because of all the politics they've done and all the shenanigans.
I think they got there before the NFL got there, but that they're going in that same direction. They have an agenda, and Christmas is against their agenda, so it's hard to find good stuff. So it was very relieving, very, very refreshing, I should say, to read your blog, because it brought back memories of when, a time when things were a little bit more sane.
Yeah, and you didn't have to worry about saying Merry Christmas. I don't have to worry about saying it anyway. But yeah, we need good movies. We need good actors, and there are good movies out there. But they're barren. They're few and far between, and especially Christmas movies. I mean, we watched some the other night. They were okay. I mean, we watched them, and there was one we turned on. I won't say what it was, because a lot of people probably like it. And within 5 minutes, I just said, "Turn this off. This is terrible already. It's already terrible."
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing wrong with showing the meaning of Christmas. But yeah, Hollywood's against that. They're against guns unless it makes them a lot of money. They're all anti-gun. But by golly, the Jason Bourne movies, full of Matt Damon, who's an anti-gun person. Unless he's holding one in his hand and making billions of dollars
for enough money, he'll hold one.
And Liam Neeson's the same way. I mean, their guns are terrible, but I'll kill somebody during a movie because it'll make me millions of dollars. Mm-hmm. They're anti-war, but most of their successful movies, are based on war, and they're against it. But if they want to show Saving Private Ryan, that's okay. Mm-hmm. That war's okay because they're making a lot of money off of it. But anyway, yeah, let's get back to Christmas.
Blah,
Christmas
blah.
movies.
Yeah. Okay, Grinch.
Yeah. Hollywood is just 100% hypocrites. So, but they've, number 3 on my list was a Charlie Brown Christmas. And that's still a classic. It's still watched all the time. And what's the key message in that whole thing? is the birth of Christ. And so that's why it's a classic. That's why people love it, because it's the meaning of Christmas.
Well, and it goes into, I know we're skipping down the list, but while we're
Yeah.
here, we just got through 20 minutes with Becky, and we talked about the effect of Christmas on our interpersonal lives, the emotions, the depression, the isolation. This movie, we can connect to it, because Charlie's kind of the oddball, and sometimes we feel like an oddball.
Yeah.
And it brings out our humanity.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it offers hope, it offers cheer. And I just applaud what you did, because you went through the movie, the scenery, and all that. But then the takeaway, that was a Del Didway signature classic move. You call good plays, Coach.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess we can start at the top. I guess
Start at the top. Number 5.
And I'm looking at it here. Number 5 was a movie that my wife and I just recently watched just a few Christmases ago. We'd never really seen it because, you know what? When I saw the previews of it, it didn't never really appeal to me. And we were empty nesters for the first time, and our kids are gone. And Christmas Day was kind of quiet. And I thought, I'm going to watch this movie. I've never seen it before, and we love it. It's a Christmas Story, such a great, wonderfully written piece and wonderfully acted movie. And actors, Darren McGavin was just fantastic in that film. I loved him from the old Night Stalker, Carl Kolchak movies, the shows. So Darren McGavin is fantastic in this film. It'll put a smile on your face, because especially if you're a young boy, you could relate to a BB gun. I don't know if they make them anymore today, because some wimps probably try to outlaw them. So it's just a great film about.
You remember the old Daisy BB gun,
Yeah.
Del?
Yeah, that's what he was.
Springcock.
Yeah.
Yeah. They made some you could pump up with air, though. You know what I mean? Those shot a little pellet, man. Those were good.
He was wanting Ralphie was wanting the Red Rider. That's what he was wanting. So it's just a great film. It'll keep you laughing, because it's just. I think people can relate to this. At least I could growing up. And that was my number 5 pick, and my number 4 obviously is It's a Wonderful Life. And people need to really watch that. I mean, especially today's generation needs to watch this movie, because they're so caught up in trying to beat each other down in everyday life and in politics, that they need to really watch this film. And I wonder what life would be like if I wasn't around. I think probably people, I don't know if they'd be lying, have ever wondered that. So.
Well, I think the older we get, the more acquainted with that topic we become.
Yeah.
With me, I won't call it an obsession, but I will say it drives me. Is, I will be gone. Will it matter that I was here?
Yeah, and what. I guess, what impact do you make throughout your life? And you look back on little things, and wonder how that played a part in somebody's life. And, I think you'd be up for hours if you thought that way. But it would be nice to be able to go back and see these things, have Clarence take us back in time. But he's not here. And, again, this movie was just so well acted. And it's a 5-star movie for a reason. And, a lot of folks... like our daughter-in-law hasn't seen it. I'm like, really? You haven't seen this movie? And no, I haven't seen it. So I think people today nearly need to watch this. Of all those films, they need to watch that one, because it's just it's of simpler times, and still with the same things people face. People face discouragement. People, at this time of year, contemplate ending their life, and George Bailey contemplated that. So it's something that he had it all, but he was losing it all, he thought. So what easy way, to jump off a bridge and just end it. So I think it can relate to a lot of folks, but they just don't want to take the time to watch it. And there will be a time when that'll probably be banned sometimes. No, I'm serious. It'll be banned because it promotes God. It promotes, there's an angel in it. So there'll be a movement to try to get rid of that film. So we better watch it while we can.
That was number 4.
That was number 4. 3 we just talked about was Charlie Brown Christmas.
I love the musical score in that one.
Yeah,
piano.
Yeah, Linus, and it's just a great film. It's just a great time to sit down and watch it because the message in it, all of Charles Schultz stuff. Always, he had a Christian theme to all of his thing, to majority of his stuff, especially Charlie Brown Christmas. He did it subtly to where people really didn't realize it till Linus reads the Christmas story. And
well, that would be radical today.
Yeah, it would be.
Wouldn't
so?
Be.
But hey, CBS shows it, so it must not be too bad. So they had it on the other day. So hopefully they won't. I think there'll be a backlash. They try to get rid of that, and there'll be a day come when that's targeted too. But yeah, that's you can't go to Christmas without watching that. And then and I hesitated with number 2, The Grinch, because I so discussed the actor in that movie. Yeah.
This is the new one.
Yeah,
not the classic.
No, that wasn't. No, this is the movie. Actually, we were on the set years ago when we were out in Hollywood. They had just wrapped up filming, and we were on a tour, and we were able to see parts of Whoville that were just being taken down, some other things. So we got a little behind the scenes glimpse there on the set, and then it came out Christmas time. So just.
What were you doing in Hollywood?
We had taken a vacation out in Vegas, and I was working in television at the time at the for a WB affiliate, and my rep, who worked at Warner Brothers, invited us out, and we had a little tour of the set. So it was kind of cool. One of the best tours, included on that, was she took us on I got to stand in the saloon in the final scene of Unforgiven, the classic Clint Eastwood film there. So we stood there in that bar where it all went down there in the final scene. So it was awesome. So,
did you find a John Wayne Airport or LAX?
We flew into LA, and we flew into Vegas actually, and drove back.
Oh, you drove? Okay.
I have flown into, and also I still consider it the John Wayne Airport. We flew into that out in Burbank one time, so it would always be the John Wayne Airport to me. So we have flown into that once, but it's just a funny movie. How the Grinch Stole Christmas, just a funny movie. Not much a spiritual connotation to it, but
but you brought it home in your takeaway.
I try to. It's about joy and peace, and really the only way you can have joy and peace is to accept Christ in your heart. And it's not about packages, and it's not about toys, and that's just what the world has taken and changed it to. So. That's the fun part. That's the fun part of it. But obviously, I kind of made it a spiritual takeaway because that's what it's about. It's about joy. It's not about gifts. It's about the peace. It's about family and people around you. So that's what that takeaway I tried to do because I don't think the star of the show is will relate that. So
I haven't seen the new one, so I'm at a disadvantage.
No, it's hilarious. Yeah, it is funny. It is fun. It is funny. And he does a great job. I got to give him that, and the acting. And Ron Howard did a great job on that and that adaptation. And it's just a fun movie to watch. It goes by pretty quick, so it's not a long, drawn out film, but it's very entertaining. We'll probably watch it this weekend, and then we'll watch Christmas Vacation. This probably Christmas Eve or Christmas Day as well, and just because we can, as you said, as you get older, you couldn't relate to that.
Christmas Vacation, if it would have been number 1 on my list. There was a day when comedy was funny.
Yeah,
Chevy Chase just nails it. He without him, I don't know what that movie would have been like. But he did a great job. Yeah,
and then obviously Cousin Eddie makes it too. It's just so much fun. I think later the movies, the ones he was in later weren't as. I think they made it too much into it, but
dog's probably just yakking on a bone.
Yeah, that's hilarious, man. That's a funny scene. So it just has it all. And now that my kids all have dogs and cats, and But yeah, I think and who is it? Uncle? What's his name? Uncle
That whole movie just
Uncle
keeps.
Lewis and his stogie. I mean, it's just hilarious. So, where she wraps up the cat, and so it's today we don't see that today. We don't have true comedians anymore.
No,
And
not at all.
I miss those days, listening to Carson and Leno and even Letterman back then was funny. He wasn't political; he was funny. He
Yeah.
was kind of goofy, but he was funny.
I was watching a documentary on the death of John Belushi.
Yeah, it
And
was
John
hilarious.
Belushi was very, very talented. It was such a waste.
He was hilarious. Yeah,
Just
So,
and a hard worker. I mean, he was a just.
yeah.
But he and they all in several of these, John Goody and some of the other I love watching documentaries while I'm working, and invariably they compare him to Charlie Chaplin.
Yeah, yeah. So, but that movie, when he's decorating the house, I mean, I think a lot of folks can all relate to that. It's just a funny movie, and again, it's about family, and even in the when things fall apart at the end, if you have everybody together, that's the main thing. So, whether your Christmas tree catches on fire or whatever, or the sewer blows up, the gas place blows up. So I think it's as long as family's there, it's awesome. And our family's growing. We'll be celebrating Christmas with my wife's side this weekend because people have to come in, and there'll be a big gathering there, I think, and we'll probably all have to wear masks. I'm sure. So,
Well,
we're
let me
not.
do the takeaway for Christmas Vacation because you
Yeah.
did. I mean, again, Dale, the movie, your recall of the movie is great, but the takeaway was, Chevy Chase was determined that if he could just manipulate the circumstances for the perfect Christmas, everybody would be happy.
Right.
And boy, that captures it. That's the takeaway, folks. The Bible says, Paul says, I've learned to be content in whatever circumstances I am. We expend, all of us, I'm going to preach here, and I'll give it back to you in a minute. We expend a lot of time, energy, and money in manipulating circumstances so that we'll be happy. It is futile. It is false. Happiness is not found out there in circumstances. We can't, and we're literally siphoning off our joy, trying to some of the most stressful times is vacations and projects that are supposed to bring joy. Anyway,
Yeah, and
you can have it back.
And I had a couple of honorable mentions. I haven't watched Miracle on 34th Street for quite a while. It's probably been 10 years since I've seen that movie, but it ranks up there good enough to be honorable mention. And then Die Hard I think it is classified, in my opinion, as a Christmas movie, and I have no problems classifying that as a Christmas movie.
You're by yourself on that.
It's hey, it happened on Christmas Eve, so
I love the movie.
Yeah,
I
I do
love
too.
it, love it, love it. But
I consider it a Christmas movie.
that is a bridge too far, my man. That is it's set
it's
in
on-
the Christmas season.
It's on Christmas Eve, so yeah, I classify that as a Christmas movie.
Okay.
So, so
It's your blog. You can do whatever you want.
We'll watch some Christmas movies probably this weekend again. I think we'll probably start hitting some of these top 5 because the ones we've seen the last couple of weekends have been a stretch, and they're those corny ones where again they're cute. You got a young lady, her husband's left them, and they always end up being a waitress, and they're always down on their luck. And then this gorgeous guy walks in who's obviously single for some reason, but they fall in love, and it's the best Christmas ever. So that's somebody needs to come up with an original theme to some of these kind of corny, hokey Christmas movies. But we watched one last weekend, but that had a good message to it. It was a good message. So that's the main thing about it. But it always involves some lady who's had her life poured out from under her, and here comes the cowboy, the big ranger.
The knight
Yeah,
in shining
that one,
armor,
so-
riding in on a white horse.
And they're always in these small towns. We watched the one, I don't know, what was it? Some ghost who was in this mansion. I don't remember the name of it, but I thought I was gonna like slit my wrist at one point. I was like, "Get this movie over with. This is terrible." So, but we watched it, and I forget what it's called, but I don't ever want to watch it again. But
Maybe you could do a blog on the worst
oh my gosh,
Christmas movies. You know that.
there's a lot of them out there. There's a lot of corny ones, just a lot of silly songs too. A lot of stupid Christmas songs, and I touched on those.
Mm-hmm.
But I like. I'm reading here. One of the favorite quotes in A Charlie Brown Christmas. Again, Linus reads the Christmas story in the Charlie Brown Christmas, and I'm pretty sure he reads from the King James version. So. Again, I'm surprised that hasn't been kiboshed by the anti-Christian, anti-Christmas people. So, but yeah, those are my top five with the 2 honorable mentions.
Yeah,
Miracle on 34th Street, Die Hard. It really is not much better Christmas movies out there. I mean, if you can think of a couple of them, let me know. But they're bleak. I mean, a lot of folks say Elf. I've watched it. It's not bad. It just irritates me. So I just don't like Elf.
I'm with you on that. He's
like
just annoying. There's a difference between comedy and the crap we see today. I like the Three Stooges. That was hilarious.
You can't get any better than the Three Stooges, really. And then and I was kind of cautious when they did that one just a few years ago. That actually was pretty good. They did a really good job on that, and I thought it was funny. So Three Stooges are great.
And I think about Roadrunner, and the Coyote.
Can't have cartoons anymore.
There was a day when television as a cultural foundation was healthy. It was just entertainment. It was just fun. I can remember waking up on set. Del, there was a time when I had broken my femur, and I was in a cast from my armpits all the way down to the toes of the broken leg and down to my knee on the other leg with a broomstick welded in between. Mm-hmm. My parents would carry me, because you had to wait for the TV station to sign on with guess what, the national anthem. Yeah. And I would sit there and watching, because I had to, the Beverly Hillbillies during the week. And there's nothing that compares to that today. Now, again, I'll skip the political commentary. It's junk. Mm-hmm. It's not funny. It's flagrant. It's vulgar. Mm-hmm. Comedians think that if they talk about, bathroom, toilet, and sex, and, the sewage, where these movies you can watch and be entertained and not feel like you've done something you have to repent for when you're done.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we'll probably watch A Christmas Story on Christmas Day, because TBS will have that nonstop. Mm-hmm. And of course, that was based out of Cleveland, Ohio. I mean, that's where the movie takes place. It is in Cleveland. And
wasn't Christmas Vacation filmed in Breckenridge?
I have no idea where that was filmed.
I think it was. I love Breckenridge.
Yeah,
really. It looks like Christmas there all the time. It's just.
I don't know where it was. I mean, he's in the Griswolds are in Chicago. That's where they're.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
But I mean, that's where they're. He's works in Chicago because they're the Hancock Building in that one scene. And so they're on the Magnificent Mile. So that's a funny scene and just a funny movie. But I would love for a good Christmas movie to be made, a good Christmas song. But this, today's entertainment is just lousy. And I love, when they're on Christmas Vacation, when Ray Charles was singing "The Spirit of Christmas." Mm-hmm. I mean, I love Ray Charles, mm-hmm. And so that's just makes you feel, it puts you in the Christmas spirit. At least it does for me, because it puts a smile on my face. And we'll probably watch that, probably Saturday-ish maybe, and then gear up for the stuff next week. But and my blog next week will be probably a little bit more serious, and it'll be a repeat as well.
I was going to ask, you've done the books, you've done the movies, not the books, you've done the music, the movies. What's next?
Oh, we'll wait and see. Probably a little history lesson about one of the more favored Christmas songs out there. So
there you go.
yeah, it's kind of I like what I wrote a few years ago about Silent Night and the history about Silent Night. So it's a great lesson about that song, about how it was written and when it was written. And a lot of folks don't really realize it. So I enjoy that.
Folks, that'll be at DellDidway.com. I strongly suggest you go there. I strongly suggest you spell it the way it's spelled on the screen right now. See it and write it down. And
then maybe I'll take a poll. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie? I'll put that out on Twitter tonight.
I will.
Die Hard a Christmas movie?
All right, you've already got one vote. No.
It'll be, yeah.
But your vote's the only one that counts, Dell. It's your blog. If you want to call it a Christmas movie, you go right ahead. But
It is.
Anyway, with Dell, thanks for sharing. I know you're on the road and things are different there, but tell the hotel that their internet service is wonderful, and we're just glad that things went off smoothly. And we'll see you. We got one more before Christmas, and that'll be next week, and look forward to that when that happens.
Talk to you soon.
All
Thanks everybody for being out there.
You're the man. Thank you, Dell. Folks, that was Dell Didway, and he is our guest every Tuesday right here on pjnet.tv. You just saw the bird's eye view of the Eagle's Nest broadcast facilities. In closing, not in closing, but I want to take a moment just to run down the roster. I try to say thank you, and sometimes it comes across as just a routine of, check off the box. I said thank you to the people in the chat room, but I want to say with all sincerity, Becky Lindsay, thank you for not only enjoying the chat room and being a part of it, but your contribution to PJNet as a team member. Same to Ben Cooper. Ben appears monthly right here on pjnet.tv. Cynthia Mendenhall is here, and I think she's on the schedule next week, if I'm not mistaken, or who knows, I don't remember. Dee Mashik is here. We go way back. Glad to see you, Doug, or Dee. Doug Carter is here. Doug and I have the opportunity to speak to Doug on the telephone. We do a lot of collaboration and just general brainstorming, and I consider him almost a mentor in a journey on this journey. Hazards 4, always here, especially on Friday night. Appreciate you, Steve. And Catherine Pacehour is here, and I have met her at one of the Christian Writers Conferences. Rachel Colby is in our chat room. Rachel is a very, very, very gifted writer, but more importantly, she is a prayer partner with so many people, including me. And I really appreciate your prayers. She'll call me late at night. Hey, Coach, you up? It's like, are you kidding? Yeah. Sunbelt Girl, Barbara is our associate producer. She and I go way back to the very first episode. Literally. Very first. Always faithful. Tammy from Georgia is here, our Georgia Peach cheerleader, and it's always such a blessing. Each one of you are a special blessing in my life, and you are an important part of the pjnet.tv team, and you make it worthwhile. Before I leave, I challenge you to ask yourself 2 questions. First, what is the boldest thing you've ever done for Jesus Christ? And secondly, when was that? Let's not allow ourselves to be satisfied with either answer.